Radio Mind.
Woo Bum-kon, or Woo Bum-kon as some might say, was a South Korean cop with a dark streak that would give even the hardest criminals a run for their money. Born on February 24, 1955, he etched his name into the grim annals of history on April 27, 1982, with a killing spree that still chills the bones. By the time his rampage in Gyeongsang-nam-do was over, 57 souls, including his own, lay lifeless, and 35 more were left nursing wounds, the kind that never really heal. Seoul, South Korea, April 27th. For 8 nightmarish hours, a drunken South Korean cop turned a quiet farm community into a bloodbath, leaving 56 dead and 37 wounded. The nation's leaders were in a tailspin, scrambling to figure out how one man could wreak such havoc unchecked. Prime Minister Yu Chang soon took charge, heading a 5-member cabinet committee to tackle the crisis. An investigative team of 15 prosecutors and police officials was sent to Uiryeong, ground zero of the massacre. Home Minister Soo Chung-hwa and National Police Chief An Ung-mo offered their resignations, shouldering the blame for the catastrophic failure in the security system, as if they'd been blindsided by a guerrilla raid from the north. The provincial police chief got suspended, and 4 other cops were arrested for neglect of duty. They failed to stop Woo Bum-kon, a 26-year-old former Marine sergeant, from grabbing 2 carbines, 180 rounds of ammo, and 7 grenades. Woo ended his own life with 2 of those grenades. The mayhem started at 9:30 p.m., supposedly sparked by a fit of rage after being woken from a nap. His girlfriend, 25-year-old Chun Mal-soon, had swatted a fly on his chest. After clocking in at 4 p.m., Woo drowned his anger in booze at the local station. Chun recounted that the night before, Woo came home drunk, punched her, making her nose bleed, then stormed off into the night. While his fellow officers were at a community meeting, Woo raided the armory, armed himself to the teeth, and set off on his deadly rampage through the countryside. Two hours later on that infamous day, Woo opened fire on passers-by in the Torongni marketplace, hitting Miss Chun, who had gone looking for him. Next, he stormed into the post office in Kungreu, killing 3 telephone operators and severing the village's connection to the outside world. Decked out in his police uniform, Woo moved from village to village, targeting lighted windows. He knocked on doors, and when unsuspecting residents opened them, he either shot or lobbed grenades. Many fled to the rice fields, but others, not expecting trouble from a man in uniform, were trapped. At one point, he forced a 16-year-old boy at gunpoint to fetch him a soft drink from a grocery store. After downing it, he killed the boy and his family before vanishing into the night again. Police reported that Woo killed 18 people in Eungi and 24 in Pyeongchon. The police, hampered by darkness and Woo's constant movement, struggled to catch up with him. Eventually, they cornered him in a farmhouse. There, Woo clutched 2 grenades to his chest and detonated them, killing himself and the family inside. Miss Chun, who survived her injuries, described Woo as suffering from an inferiority complex and being disturbed by villagers' gossip about their unmarried cohabitation. She painted him as a little eccentric. The body count had finally stopped climbing, but the numbers were still enough to make your head spin. 56 souls punched their final ticket that night, with Woo joining them in whatever comes after. Another 35 got to test how good their insurance was, though 6 of them didn't make it past the waiting room. One poor kid held on till May 8th before checking out. The bigwigs were playing musical chairs up in Seoul. The provincial police chief got benched, and 4 of his boys were trading their badges for stripes. Interior Minister Soo and the top cop, An, both offered to fall on their swords. Soo drew the short straw, getting the boot on April 29th. Some guy named Ro Tae-woo stepped into those still warm shoes. The politicians were putting on a show, naturally. 19 of them, led by a fella called Kim Chong-ho, were supposed to figure out how everything went to hell in a handbasket. Meanwhile, the cabinet was reaching for the checkbook, trying to put a price tag on all that grief. But in this town, even the dead can't rest easy. The body count was as slippery as a greased pig. First, it was 57, then 63. Some whispered it might have hit 75 when all was said and done. The only thing everyone agreed on was about 35 walking wounded, with victims spread across 3 hospitals, like a macabre game of hide-and-seek. Some poor souls got counted twice in the chaos. In the end, it didn't matter if it was 57 or 75. Each number was a life snuffed out, a family shattered, and all because one man woke up on the wrong side of sanity. It was enough to make you wonder about the thin blue line between order and chaos, and just how easy it was to step over. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Radio Mind. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support is invaluable and truly helps us grow. Stay tuned for more engaging content, and until next time, be safe, and remember, don't let everyday stresses kill your spirit and imagination.